Erin, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Erin?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Laura?
Okay. Yes, full disclosure, this is the first time on this side of doing a Zoom meeting.
Sure. Well, thank you for being here. You have co-host permissions, so you should be able to share your screen just fine and admit folks and whatnot. So I will start out first 15 minutes or so, just checking in with everybody on our accountability check-in, and then hand things off to you for close the deal.
Thank you. Bless you.
I'm just going to hang on about 2 more minutes and we'll get going. What do we think of profit share yesterday? Any feedback on that from anybody?
Seems simple enough.
Yeah, simple enough.
Yeah, I mean, just anybody who you do business with, another agent or whatever, just say, hey, is it okay if our team lead gives you a call to say thank you?
Yeah,
Simple as that.
absolutely. And are you going to have the biggest profit share tree overnight? No, but if you're planning on being in this business any amount of time, growing that over the years, there's some folks out there that do very, very well from their profit share.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get started with our check-ins. And Gary, can we start with you? How's it going?
Things are going good. I got that other listing, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to get the house ready, but it's in Coos Bay,
Oh,
another 4-2. And I have an appointment on Friday, a buyer appointment, who's looking for a USDA kind of deal. So I invited this lender I've been speaking with to join me on the meeting here in the office. So looking forward to that. And I just been last week I did a couple of mixers and not open mic, happy hour.
mm-hmm.
And I went to the Springfield board ribbon cutting. It was kind of neat to meet, so many people. There's also title company. I met with title company and been using them actually for a lot of my marketing so far. So that's a pretty good deal. I definitely would stress meeting with the title companies, and they can, like the home book, for instance, that thing is just huge. The 2 clients I do have, I sent them that home book and they were just flabbergasted. They're like, oh my God, that's so cool. And so it's like, yeah, no big deal. But yeah, just using uh, connections and stuff is super invaluable. What I'm learning, so it was kind of difficult at first, but once you get out there and start meeting people, shaking hands, and you know, listening to their stories and how long they've been in the game, and this and that. Yeah, it's going pretty well, I think. So
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Cool. Jacob, how about you?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, anyway, just a lot going on. I've just been meeting with lenders for our 2 potential buyer clients right now, who one is more motivated than the other, but I'm just trying to get them connected with the best lender for them. I actually have a consultation with one of my buyers tonight, so I'm just gonna meet up with them, do the buyer presentation that I put together. I actually threw one together last night, so I've got that ready to go. I've been hosting open houses. And from the last weekend that I hosted the open house, I actually got 4 potential leads. 2 are sellers and 2 are buyers. So just been following up with them and just getting some things straightened out while trying to manage my 8 to 5 as well. So just a lot of different things going on.
Great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, Maddie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I kind of talked about some of this the other day, but I started using Mojo Dialer.
Okay.
So I do 200 calls a day. It's a lot, but I have 2 listing appointments next week. And then I have a buyer I'm doing showings with and 2 other potential buyers. Along handwritten cards, I've been sending those to everyone I've been like in contact with on Mojo, which for every 150 people you call, you really only talk to like 10 people. So that works out. And then I've just been focusing on social media. I finally hit 1,000 followers on there. So
Awesome. And so your seller leads, are those from your cold calling efforts? Wow. Awesome. Great job.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Jen, how's it going?
Good. I have a potential listing in Portland and I signed up for the RMLS and that starts tomorrow. I mean, the membership or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll do a CMA and do the seller presentation. They were talking to someone else, so I'll have to win them over.
Okay, awesome, cool. Well, I know you know that area well, so yeah, go get it. Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Felicia, how's it going?
It's going, still waiting for a response from the sellers on the air park. So that's been kind of, I don't know, just like hurry up and wait. And, like they had until 6 last night and at, 5 o'clock, I get this message saying they're still discussing. I sent that on to you, but, so yeah, I haven't heard anything today. It's complicated because there are 3 beneficiaries to the property. And so I imagine their siblings and all, have different ideas. So yeah, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I've been kind of distracted. My fiance has been off. He just had surgery, so haven't been as productive. But I think next week I'm gonna plan to go into the office and, I'll have less distraction that way.
Works for me. I mean, it just really does. There's just not all those things to, distract you, certainly when you're in the office. I love that. Well, hey, good luck on the air park deal. Let me know.
I will. You'll be the first to know.
It's been great experience. I mean, all the all the addendums that had to be attached, and everything.
I
So
know. We'll see if we have to do another one tonight.
yeah. And then Tony, how are you doing?
Sorry, had to find my unmute button.
Oh.
I've been a little bit busy. I co-hosted an open house last Sunday. I've been driving around my neighborhood, scouting out an area that I'm interested in farming. So I'm waiting. I got my business cards ordered, so I'm waiting for those to come in. I'm making some postcards because once I get the area that I want to farm in, I want to get those mailings going out. I've been working on and I've completed all except for just a few little details, my buyer's presentation packet. I have an appointment. I set up an appointment to meet with a local lender tomorrow morning for coffee. And then I'm also meeting with an escrow agent. I'm doing a joint meeting with Jen actually tomorrow afternoon with an escrow agent to go over like a mock closing. Let me see. Yeah, that's kind of pretty much what I've been up to in the last couple of days.
Yeah, awesome. That'll be a great experience for you guys. That'll be great.
Hoping, yeah.
Yeah.
We actually met her at the pledge.
Okay.
And she sent me a friend request on Facebook, which I recognized her, so I accepted. And then when Jen said, "Hey, do you want to do this with me?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, actually, I would love to. She's my friend on Facebook. I should probably, meet her, have coffee with her and kind of get to know her a little bit." So that's
Awesome.
that.
Hey, Michael, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? I've been pretty busy, just doing a lot of follow-up with potential clients, reaching out. Got a few more buyers that have been pre-approved, so that's a good sign. I have a buyer consultation on Friday, gonna go meet up with them. That's a unique situation, so a little worried about that, but that's all right. And then potentially next week have a listing appointment, so hopefully get that scheduled and in the books for sure. But yeah,
Amazing.
that's about it.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
And Haley, how are you doing?
Saving the best for last. No, I'm just kidding. No, to be honest, I feel like an absolute disaster. I feel like I'm just kind of steadily going downhill. I have a back injury that I've been dealing with since April, and so that's why I never show my face on here, because I'm always laying down because I can't sit. So I've been really struggling. I have like 4 buyers that are really sturdy leads, but they don't want to buy for about 6 months. So I have something to look forward to, but in the meantime, I just feel really overwhelmed. Sorry, I have a buyer right now and she's feeling really discouraged. Her pre-approval is not what she hoped it was. And I'm just trying my best to calm her in this situation. But at the same time, I'm also struggling a lot myself and didn't really see myself in this position. So I guess I'm really just sad that I'm in this position right now in real estate. So yeah, it's kind of where I'm at.
So as far as like going out and showing, is that something that's kind of difficult right now for you to do? To go out and show properties with your back?
Yeah. If it's really close to where I live, it's something that I can do. So I'm going to try my best to find an open house this weekend that's close to where I live. But basically, the longer the drive, the worse it is on my back.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I either have to like stand or I have to be laying down.
Well, if you are in a position at any point when a client wants to see a house and you need some just showing help, luckily, being KW, we have big offices and there's typically a lot of folks out there that, if you post to the Facebook group or send out an email to our little closed email group, just looking for some showing help and put a little bounty on it, $20-25 to do some showings for you, someone will probably pick it up. I know in Eugene, Springfield, usually those requests get picked up pretty quickly. And then also, yeah, certainly those folks that are in your sphere and kind of waiting and circling, everyone, my philosophy is everyone buys eventually. You just need to make sure that you're in a position that when they do make that choice and they are ready, you're the one that's top of mind and you're the one that they call. And then the other thing that I would recommend to you is just getting in contact with Mara and just kind of coming up, with a little plan that you can kind of, we're all about a lifestyle by design and supporting the business that you design. So, just getting with her to kind of come up with a good game plan that also fits within what you can kind of do right now. And then the last thing I would say is, as far as buyers getting discouraged with pre-approval letters and interest rates rising and things like that, we're all definitely feeling that. I'm hearing a lot of that out there. So you're definitely not alone there. And just take it one step at a time, especially when you kind of first start out. It can be overwhelming and a lot. But yeah, just take it one step at a time, one task at a time, one day at a time. That's all you can do. But yeah, we're here to support you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so today, I guess actually before I jump into that, it's our last Ignite. Yeah, this is it. This is the last Ignite. And in fact, Ignite is being changed up a little bit. KW International changed up Ignite a little bit. So instead of 13 Ignite classes for Q4, when we start over again for like the next group, it's actually going to be 20 classes, but they're actually shorter. And so this is like not only the last Ignite, but this is like the last Ignite of this version, because we're going to be kind of going off of a slightly different version. It's not a heck of a lot different. It's just kind of broken up differently is probably the biggest change. But yeah, we're almost kind of rounded out with our PC classes as well next week, with we've got home warranties, inspections, lending 101, title and escrow. And then we'll pretty much be wrapped up with this series. So at the end of things, and I'm sure I'll mention this again next week or whatever, but Mara will send out emails to everybody of all the classes that we have you down for, and then which ones to, try and mark down on your calendars for Q4 if you happen to miss them the first go round. We can also send out recordings, of course, as well, if you guys want those. So with that, today, did anybody have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just want to confirm, so we can continue on as the new ones come. Okay, good.
Yeah, keep coming.
Because there's a few that I've missed that I'd like to reattend, so.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
definitely. So today, for Close the Deal, we have Miss Laura Knight from Keller Williams, Southern Oregon. She's in the Klamath Falls office. As a solo agent, she enjoys being a part of the KW culture, helping her fellow agents succeed by learning the millionaire real estate agent business models and building a successful career and lifestyle by design. And so with that, I will hand things over to Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hello, thank you everybody for showing up today. Now, you've got to help me a little bit. This is the first time I'm actually hosting the Zoom training. I usually do it in our conference room, so bear with me. The only thing that I haven't done, Aaron, is do a share my screen, but we'll get there. Learn on the fly, it's all good. So here we go to start. Okay, does anyone, just to start off with, have any questions directly for me on, I know that Haley, you were expressing that right now you're feeling not your usual self. So there are, the best thing about Keller that I can tell you is that we really do all kind of pitch in to help out to get people to where they need to be. So it's always great to call on the people within your office and see if they will go ahead and show for you. And in the meantime, it may not always be easy, but to start thinking about who is in your sphere and what you can do from the position you're in without pushing yourself so far to where you're not feeling it. It's yours is a unique situation, so I'm sorry for that. So Erin went ahead and went over with with getting your dailies done. Does anyone have questions about getting their 10-4 done weekly? Nope, okay. Well then, we'll just go ahead and get started here. So does anyone practice their scripts or do script practice with anybody or a buddy or plug into it in the mornings?
Yeah, I do the scripts in the morning often, like three days a week
Do you find that it's helping you out?
for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely,
so when you
100%.
When you go into meetings, you don't feel like you're practicing on a client?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Matt, he's super good. And it's just I mentioned before, it's just nice hearing the people that are in the scripts class in the morning, they just talk shop, and it's just good to kind of hear the verbiage that they use and the sayings that they use, and yeah, it's helpful for sure.
Anybody else?
Not yet.
Now, as far as your database, as we all know, database is everything. Is everyone working on expanding their database? I mean,
Every day.
every day. And even if it's
Every day.
just one conversation, instead of thinking I have to get this done, that's sometimes we can get analysis paralysis. So if you just say, you know, if I only just do one new contact and put them into a routine, a system to where you can reach out to them on a regular basis until they say stop, and just be polite about it. I'm a little outgoing, and I just kind of push it and see, hey, it never hurts to ask. What's the worst thing that could happen? They'll say no. I can always try. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'll fail,
Right.
but then I learn something and I pick up and go on. So mindset is really everything. There's a handful of things with real estate mindset, because you can get beat up. So it's important to go in there, and some days you talk yourself through it. Sometimes you get somebody in the office that is supportive that will talk you through it, and you push through, and there's happy rewards. So has anyone actually had a closing yet?
Soon,
Bueller?
hopefully. Soon, hopefully.
Bueller?
Not yet.
So what are your questions about a closing? Does anybody have apprehensions or, oh my God, what am I doing? Anything about contracts, anything like that?
Every day.
Yeah, no,
Right
I
on.
do. Yeah.
So what's like the biggest thing what scares you? What's scaring you the most right now?
I wouldn't say I'm scared. I just don't know what to expect. And I figure when I see it, then I'll kind of deal with it. And I know that I do have the coaching staff there, just a text message away when I do come across something that I absolutely can't BS my way out of. I got them, just a text message away. So
Well, those scripts, they really help you out of that. And
Yes,
Gary, are you in the Eugene office?
I am.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are you actually in the conference room there, in the big meeting room?
Yeah.
I
yeah,
can
I'm
tell
in
by the
the-
windows behind you.
Yeah. I'm in the pen.
Yeah. So when I first started real estate, I had, no idea of what to do, what to say. And then with my first closing, I was like, holy guacamole, what do I do now? So apparently I wasn't with Keller. So there are the things, you get your systems put together. There is organization. Thankfully in our command, you do have the checklist of, what you need to get paid. But it helps keep you in track. And of course, communication is key with everything, to communicate with your clients. And you, whether you believe in it or not, eventually you'll believe in yourself, but you need to be the one that is the expert. So you fake it till you make it is one way to do it, or you can just practice, and be organized with with your closings. And let's see. I guess I should actually stop talking and follow the system here. So with the offer, has anyone written up an offer?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
No.
so in your contracts,
Yes, I have.
how'd it go?
Well, we're waiting. I've done 2 addendums now to give them more time.
Oh,
And so 6 o'clock is the latest deadline for them to respond today. So we'll see.
and where are you, Felicia?
I'm in Eugene, Springfield.
Okay, cool. So you guys, your market is still going on pretty strong over there? Where a good property gets a lot of buyers' attention?
I think it's still, things have slowed down, but I think there's still, it's
Okay.
still moving.
So as you'll find out is once you put an offer in and every one of your clients is going to ask you, well, what do we do now? And it's like, well, the seller has 3 ways to go. They will accept it, they will reject it, or they will counter it. Now, in the contract, there's all sorts of things in there that help guide you to what makes a nice, strong, clean offer and how to negotiate around it. So now you've got your offer in, let's just say it's been accepted. Then you have your inspections. Do you guys have like a vendor list with the different vendors of, your home inspectors in case anyone needs to have water drawn out into the rural areas or septic taken care of? Is anyone familiar
No.
with that?
No, yeah, I
No.
don't have that together.
Okay, that's something that you can work on. And Haley, you as well, you can start getting get yourself a vendor list. And that's going to help you because throughout the entirety of your contracts in Klamath Falls, don't be surprised, we take about 45 days to close. We are limited on our appraisers, and that's usually what holds us back.
Hmm.
And then for the past few years, with HELOCs and refis, our title company, yes, the one title company for the whole basin,
Oh,
was
wow.
getting a little busy and backed up. And so in Eugene, I'm anticipating maybe a 4 to 5 week close.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, yeah. That's what
So-
it's like in the rest of the world, just not Klamath. I love my
So,
town.
Laura, you said in this vendors list,
Yeah.
so there'd be break down like who should be on that vendors list for us.
Well, what you would want, and everybody gets to make up their own list to share with their clients. You need to get home inspectors. But even prior to that, you should have a list of lenders that you're familiar with, that you can meet with, and you can rely on. And each lender will have different programs to offer their buyers. And we like to stay as local as possible, but if you're not familiar with Keller Mortgage, they offer wonderful programs. You've got a strong buyer, strong being, maybe it's the second time they're buying a home, they've got big fat down payment. Doesn't have to be that way, but their credit score does need to be a little bit higher than some of the other lenders. But Keller Mortgage is a nice product. So you want to get your lenders, home inspectors. So from the home inspectors, you will get a home inspection report back. You will negotiate if there's repairs to be made. Sellers can be very compliant and say, sure, I knew there were a couple of things. There's 10 things on the list, we'll take care of them all. Or the seller can say, you know what, I love my house, I've lived here for 10 years, you deal with it. So those are all areas of negotiation. And then that is where some of those scripts come in handy because it kind of gives you an idea of how to maneuver through negotiations on home repair. So with the inspection, then you want to start getting on your vendor list, you would like to get repair services, a carpet cleaner, a plumber, an electrician. Electricians are gold. A general contractor or a handyman service if you need to have just some touch-up paint done somewhere. But you will start adding on. And this is also another way for you to reach out to your community and bring leads back to your business, to give them your business card and say, hi, I'm with Keller Williams and I would like to put you on my preferred vendors list. And if you could, there's 2 cards, put your name on there. And if you have a buyer or someone interested in purchasing, please send them my way, purchasing or listing. And that way you kind of get a little bit of a feedback of who it is that is sending you clients. And that kind of helps you send clients their way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I tease people. I'm like, I do real estate 24/7 because anyone I talk to, I'm gonna eventually get around to what I do and how I do it. And with time, it becomes a lot more comfortable, but you have to remind people that you are a realtor, you know? So please use me. I'm asking you for your business. Just as if I had a storefront with an open sign. I wear an open sign around my neck figuratively, but you never know. If I find one on sale, I might wear one. So I think I'm funny, just deal with it. So,
Hey, I laughed.
I laughed.
thank you for the courtesy, but constantly go out there, and that falls into the whole lead gen aspect as well. You're not going to have a pen and paper and always write it down, but always have a stack of business cards. Or you can get the app on your phone and say, hey, can I just send you my app? And they can now have your contact on their phone, which is handy. So getting back to vendor list. So you'll need your repair and your services. Also, a nice thing when you get into doing listings is to have a cleaning service on hand. Because one of the things you can do while you're in your listing appointment is to say that you will also offer a move out clean. So talk to your cleaning people first, see what kind of a deal you can negotiate and throw it in. Say, not only am I going to do XYZ, but on the most hectic day of this transaction is the day that you're moving out. Let me take some of that heat off and send my cleaning people in. And what they'll do is they'll dust, take care of all the surfaces and the floors. You know, so that's nice as well. And you'll get business off of that, believe it or not.
Do we pay for that?
Yes. You don't have to. It's just remember, Jennifer, this is your business. You get to run it any way you want. But if I'm charging somebody, you know, if I'm not giving them any discounts on my listing fee, then if I'm selling a $300,000 house and I've got a cleaning gal that's going to go in there and spend a day for $350, that's a $350 lead to the next listing that I'm going to get. So it's kind of a mindset of where am I putting that money? But everybody gets to run their business their own way. If you say, I can put you in touch with this cleaning gal and, you know, you make a deal with her of what you'll pay her or him, then go ahead and do that. But that's just kind of the thing that I offer. You know, it's your business. You get to run it the way that you want to run it. And how it's going to, you know, for everybody has a different way of approaching and how they want to do their business. So there is no right or wrong way other than compliance and what, you know, the state rules are. But when it's your business, you're the captain of your ship. You go in there and you say, that's why we have the models. This is what I do. This is what you get. And you want to make it attractive, especially in shifting markets, you have to work a little harder. And so if you go with me, this is what you get. And the biggest thing about being a Keller agent is give data. Give these people as much data as they can handle. So with your vendors list, when you go through the negotiations, also, from what I understand in different parts of the country, I'm being facetious, I'm originally from Las Vegas. So when you'll have different title companies. So if your seller or buyer has a preference to title companies, then that's what you go with. And then within time, you'll start getting a good relationship with different escrow officers and just keep them on your list. It's always handy. Many buyers, they don't know which title company they want to go with. The seller sometimes doesn't know. So you can say, well, we have product A, or, title company A or title company B. Get the one that's closest for people if you don't have a preference. The whole name of the game is to hold their hand and get them to the finish line. And during this process, they become your best friend for like 2 months. Then you never see them again. No, just kidding. It's like a really bad date. So then keep that information. Take your notes on your clients. Find out their birthdays, their kids, their favorite pets, or if they are allergic to pets. You get all these things. And so as time goes by, you keep them in your database and you let them know, hey, how's your puppy doing? Or, hey, your daughter should be graduating now. Oh, I was over at, U of O and I saw somebody that looked like your son crossing the street, whatever. There's always reasons to reach out to your clientele, and it needs to be genuine. It doesn't have to be like reaching or salesy, but just always stay genuine to who you are. And yes, this is genuinely me. So sorry, you guys have to put up with that. Just kidding. So with your inspection, we're going to go back to inspections. A good thing I have something written down because I do go squirrel. You negotiate that. You have, if you can, keep your notes on when you talk to your clients of what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do. And of course, as always, in your office, if you're stuck on something, go to your principal broker, your compliance broker, your mentor, whoever's going to help you through that. So during this process, you've opened escrow. You're going to start getting documents from your title company. It's going to come in. And is anyone familiar with reading a title report?
I have read a couple of those just in practice and then my own personal.
And the title companies usually have training, and you can, you can actually call your title company and say, hi, this is Jennifer. I want to know more about how to read a title company straight from the title company's mouth, because they each have their own format of how they generate a report. And it also gets them familiar with you. And that's the whole thing. I think Gary Keller said it a couple years ago, is that it's a contact sport. It's all about everyone you know, and to treat everyone respectfully and have that good working relationship. So anyway, you'll review the title report. And with that, sometimes you get little red flags on there, and you learn how to get around those red flags. Best thing is when you get that title report and it's nice and clear and everyone's good to go. In the meantime, you're also keeping in touch with the lender. Even if you're the listing agent, you have the right to talk to that lender and say, how are we doing? How is that buyer doing? Are they hitting all the conditions that is on their pre-approval? Or do we look like we're getting ready to close on time? And please, dear Lord, tell me that somebody did not quit their job within the 6 weeks that it takes to get us to the closing table. And that's another conversation to have with your buyers. If it's a first-time buyer and you are, and you're helping them get their loan, you put them in touch with a mortgage officer, mortgage company. Start letting them know, no big purchases, no buying a new car, keep your job, pay down your debt. You know, there's just a handful of things. What you do after we record is your own business. Until we record, just, you know, mind your P's and Q's with your finances, because the lender, right before funding, will run their report one last time to make sure that they're still employed, that they haven't bought anything new, that there's no Maserati in their garage, anything like that. So these are all parts of what you're doing throughout the closing process. It seems like a three-ring circus. I am still a little old school. I write everything on, I have these little happy little sticky notes with lines on them. I put them on the inside of my file jackets. Yes, I use file jackets. It helps my brain function. So whatever trick everybody needs to use, just make yourself notes. You can actually set your tasks up in your command system. And of course, we all know we can use our command on our phones as well to keep us, you know, did I get my inspections back in time? Because you do have a time period on your inspections. Oh my goodness, we had a red flag on the title company. Did I follow up on that? And when in doubt, don't get quiet. Reach out and talk to somebody, because it's all about the communication. If you haven't heard from the agent on the other side, reach out. How are things going? Because we all know in the coming year, you guys are probably going to have 3 or 4 under contract at the same time. Yes, you can do that. That's why you have the systems and the checks and balances to make sure that you're on top of your contracts. And it's usually just a short amount of time. Most of your time is going to be talking to people in lead gen, believe it or not, just organically. It's not, you know, oh God, I have to go meet 10 strangers. No, you go grocery shopping, you go to the gas station, you pick up a coffee, all of those things. You can turn that into lead gen. So once again, we'll jump back to the actual form here. So is anyone familiar with closing on a home loan?
Just from closing
For
my
your
own
own.
place. Yeah.
So that is a great reference point, because as we know, you can, when the loan docs get sent to the escrow office, then you have 3 days for it to set. So it just has to be calendar days, doesn't have to be business days. So you can have your sellers sign ahead of that. You can have your buyers, after it's, let's say it drops on a Friday, you can schedule your buyers to sign on a Monday. And some title companies will close same day, others will take an extra day to balance their books. But that transaction doesn't close until you actually get a recording notification. And with that recording, that means that everyone has funded, and now it's into the county records that transaction has transferred over from the seller to the buyer. So any questions on that? Because I do know I go around in circles sometimes when I speak, and I thought that was off, sorry. Anyone? Okay. So did you guys actually go into the Connect and get the download, the pamphlet that goes along with your Ignite? Okay.
Yeah.
So and it's all right there. They do have a checklist that's actually in there. Sorry, I'm not going to do the screen share thing. But the whole task list is there. So when you get your earnest money in Keller Williams, it just goes straight over to the title company, and then the title company will either email or give you a receipt upon delivery. Does anyone have questions on what earnest money is?
No.
Okay. So there's also going to be, unfortunately, There will be times whenever a transaction will terminate. So you need to fill out 2 forms that go along with that. The termination agreement, which dictates where the earnest money, if it's going to go back to the buyer, or if the buyer just changed their minds and they weren't covered under one of the contingencies, and then it's going to go to the seller. Usually it's a financing issue that happens, but every once in a while, a buyer will just back out, or something medical keeps them from getting their loan. There's an assortment of reasons as to why you terminate. So that's why it's always good to know your earnest money, your deposit, and when you open your escrow account, you will have an escrow number. So I put that into all my files, so it's easy should I have to get in touch with anybody in that team of the escrow company. Sorry, I thought I was already muted. Are you guys familiar with with the pre-approval letters? You know, whenever you put your offer in, you will need to produce a pre-approval letter, or you will need to get it in 3 days. And there's one little thing, if your offer is for 300,000 and your buyer has brought you their pre-approval of what their maximum approval is for, please talk to the lender and generate a specific pre-approval letter for that contract. Does that make sense, Jennifer? Okay. We went over negotiating for repairs and treatments. Has anyone ever been in a position where they have to negotiate on hard subjects? Like your 5-year-old wants to do like chocolate bars at 10 o'clock at night. That is a tough negotiation. So just kind of break it down for both sides. No. Usually what you look for is a win-win. If it's something that is a material, something that's material, being a broken pipe, dry rot at the front door, they have to disclose that. If your contract goes away, that seller now has to disclose that to the next potential buyer. So always use that as some leverage to let people know this is material. If it's not my buyers, it's going to be someone's buyers. So let's get it fixed. But you're not talking to the seller, you're talking to the seller's agent. The seller's agent should know that as well. So appraisals. How many people get afraid of appraisals?
I heard that is something that makes people nervous during contract.
You are correct. So with the appraisal, you kind of hold your breath. Appraisals that are coming out now, understand that appraiser has still 6 months of inventory that he can look to evaluate the home. But that 6 months is shrinking. So now within the last 2 months for sure, when you do your CMAs, you will see where the median square foot for sale, you know, like $100 and some odd per square foot you're paying for a home, that has started to shift a little bit lower than what it was 6 months ago. So whenever for listings, just do your research as best as you can. Always reach out for anybody in your office to help you evaluate that house. But with the appraisal, let's say that your buyer is at 300, the appraisal comes in at 290. The seller says, no, your buyer has to come up with the other 10. Your position would be, well, why would I want to do that? You know, if I take you to the grocery store for the same product, am I going to have you pay $10 more for it? You know, you can't make somebody pay more than what a house is worth. Now, last year, the summer before, people were doing that. market is shifting. So again, you may have to negotiate around the appraisal if the appraisal comes in low. So these are things that I like to talk to my seller and my buyer about, of possibilities, what's the best possible case scenario and where we might hit a speed bump now and again. I've learned that I don't want to give up too much information, but I don't want to blindside anybody either. So when you get to the closing table, they are left with a warm, fuzzy feeling that either they just purchased the biggest investment that they ever have, or they just got paid for living in a house for a while. So if you are the buyer's agent, they are going to call you and let you know when the appraisal is scheduled. So you let the listing agent know. Excuse me, I got that backwards. They call the listing agent and let them know, and but you keep in touch with the lender to see when you can expect the appraisal back. Once we know that we have a clear appraisal, a good appraisal, everything's on track the way that it's supposed to be, all of the inspections are done, you've gotten through all of that, now we're getting ready for a clear to close. The loan docs will then go to the title company. The title company will start making appointments for people to get in to sign. And I like to be there with my clients. Sometimes if they're out of towners, I'm not. It's nice to be there. I always take as much information with me as possible. Others show up without anything, but in case there's a question, I like to be there and know that I have it on hard copy. And for some people, after they sign, then they'll go do a walkthrough. Other times people will do a walkthrough the day before they sign. They're like, I'm not signing anything until I do a walkthrough. That's up for you to decide on how to do it. Not everybody does a walkthrough. More people, I always recommend it. But if a seller is busy packing up and doesn't have the time, the seller is not obligated to make time for the buyer to walk through.
Especially since they already put an offer in, it's like you already saw the house. So
Yeah, but a lot of buyers are going to be, well, I want to make sure that they didn't put a 3-inch gouge in the carpet, you know?
right.
And, sometimes when people move out, there could be damage that happens. I mean, all things are possible. Probability is low. You just need to know how to get through that, saying, here's the pictures of the front door in the listing without the big gash in it. We just
Right.
got here, we don't have our furniture in, and there's a big gash in the door. So how is your seller going to remedy that? So that there's all these little things that can happen. It's nice if you just have a little list of 10 items and you can go, oh, boom, 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 check off, check off, check off. It's nice when those happen, and they do happen, but always be prepared for the things that are just totally foreign. Here's a good story. If we like storytelling, I had a seller that needed help moving out, got things set up for her, dragged her heels. The buyers show up. My seller is still not out of the property. So that's when you roll up your sleeves, you start packing boxes, and you see the movers show up, and you are actually boxing and packing things up. You can only tell people so much, so you do your best in any situation. Don't let that story scare you. I have plenty more.
That happened to me when I moved here recently. They weren't out, and I was like, get out. Like when we bought our house, I was like, we're gonna be here noon tomorrow with the moving people, so get out, be out by then.
And that's why in the very beginning, have an exit plan for your seller and for your buyer.
Yeah.
I'll ask that if you've got the listing, hey, are you going to need an extra 1 or 2 days after close before you can move out? Because some people, it's contingent on them getting funds in hand for them to pay the movers or what have you. You never know what someone's situation is like. So, that's a good conversation to have in the very beginning. with your buyers. It's always nice to let them know we're supposed to get keys day of closing at 5 p.m. What happens if the seller isn't out? You know, don't kind of overlap. If you're moving out of a house or an apartment, you know, if we're moving in the middle of the month, maybe you should keep, you know, your rental till the end of the month, so it's a little bit smoother. There's ways to help guide people through that process. First-time homeowners really don't know what they're doing much of the time, and not in a bad way. But you know, you've kind of have to hold them by the hand and let them know, you know, these are things you need to do. Not can you do it or will you do it, but these are things you need to think of and things that we need you to do. And when you take the lead in a polite way like that, it puts you in a position to where it can go a lot smoother when it gets closer to closing or at the actual close or after. So their list looks a little bit different than mine. You know what I did miss, and I'm sorry about that, is the seller property disclosures. Right after you put a offer in, the seller property disclosures, you need to get those from the listing agent within 5 days. The sooner you get them, then, I'm sorry, you want to get them immediately. You only have 5 days for your client to review them. If they have any questions or concerns, that's the time that you go over it. Keep in mind the property disclosures are to the seller's best knowledge. If someone has lived in a house for 30 years, they still may not know some of the functions of their home, or they have somewhere in an envelope, you know, pamphlets for something.
When do you have the sellers fill out the disclosure?
At your listing.
Okay.
A lot of the time, depending on, and you'll weigh it out, depending on who the seller is and their own temperament, some people will have questions for you. You can't tell them what to put on that list, but you can, they'll say, what does this mean? So you can explain what the question is, but you can't explain how to answer it. But there's on the seller's property disclosures, there's a yes, no, unknown, or not applicable. And so as you go down the list, each one of those boxes needs to be checked. Each and every line needs to be read over. So that's, and it's tedious. It's like 7 or 8 pages. If you do have something that is, let's say your seller is a personal representative of the estate, they have no clue the functions of the home. They've never lived there. So then you can fill out the exemption, which is the first page on the seller property disclosure. So any questions, any other questions right now? Because we all know I talk a lot. So does anyone know how to open title?
That with earnest money?
No, because you can't deposit your earnest money without having a escrow account.
Oh, okay.
So what you do is when you get an accepted offer, you will take that offer and any counter offers, put it together, send it to the title company and say, I have a new order. Here in town, there's a couple of gals I work with regularly. So I just send them an email with that contract. Sometimes they'll come back and say, I need this information. So I'll fill out a form, send it over to them. They need the buyer and seller contact info, complete with phone numbers and email addresses, and then who the agents are. So who they're going to be talking with. If you have an assistant or anything like that, make sure they get copied on it as well. Then you just send that over. They'll send you an email that the escrow has been opened. They will give you the escrow account number. You can give that to your buyer and your seller, whichever side you're on. And then this way, when the earnest money goes in, they have an account to put it to.
So the buyer starts that, the buyer's agent?
The listing agent usually does it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But sometimes if you haven't heard in a day, you can contact the listing agent and say, hey, did you get escrow opened or did you want me to do it? And Klamath is kind of small, in case you guys didn't know. So sometimes, even at somebody at a different office, we all work together often. It's like, hey, if you're busy, I can go ahead and open escrow. Do you have preference? No preference, okay. So, you know, we all kind of work together. Okay. And another thing is to always make sure that the appraisal has been ordered immediately. When escrow gets opened or when you get your accepted offer, immediately let the lender know, and you send the same package over to the lender. It's the contract, the sales agreement with any counter offers, and send it over to the lender and let them know who your escrow is. And also when you put that info in over to the escrow company, you also include the lender information.
I have a question.
Yes.
What happens with a seller carry transaction regarding an appraisal? Because that's what this deal is, the transaction is that I'm doing right now. I'm just wondering, do you do like an independent appraisal?
You can. If whichever party is wanting to have an appraisal, they can pay for it. And it depends, and you can reach out, because since it's not a lending institute, then you can contact an appraisal directly, an appraiser directly, or you can hire maybe an agent that does broker price opinions and can do like a mini appraisal. That's up to the buyer, because the buyer is the one that is ultimately paying whatever the agreed contract amount is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel comfortable in your numbers on the contract? Like it's a fair deal for your buyer?
Yes, I mean, at this point, they're offering 25,000 less than asking anyway. And the interesting thing is that they said that they had an appraisal done, but they didn't want to pay for the report. So I don't know.
So, was it a for sale by owner?
No, it's not. They have a realtor, but
Okay.
it's
So
an
what could have
interesting-
happened is that, was it under contract before?
I don't think so. I
Well,
mean,
then how would they have an appraisal on it?
I think that,
Because the appraiser is going to get paid whether they close on a deal or not, because he's
Right.
done the work, or he or she has done the work.
yeah, I don't know if it was just a part of trying to figure out how much to list it for. It was kind of, it's a property that was divided, and there was some question about how it was divided, and I don't know, it's kind of complicated.
So was the buyer asking for an appraisal?
Not yet. I mean, we don't have a accepted offer yet.
Oh,
So,
okay. Oh,
yeah.
they've been put off a few times.
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I do remember. Well, that's a tough one. If the buyer feels as though they would like to have an appraisal done, then they can order up an appraisal.
Okay,
Because you're not going through a lending institution. So it's free market. It's what they want to do. But if they feel, and if you feel, because you're the one representing them, and keep in back of your mind, anything goes awry. There's two people that the people look at, you know, the clients look at, and those are the realtors. If you're solid in your numbers and you've done your property reports and your CMA and you're thinking, you know, this is a good deal, you know, the numbers are good, you know, be comfortable in that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the question. Anybody else? Michael, Jacob, Maddie, are you guys still awake? Just
Still alive.
Yes.
checking, 1, 2, 3, checking.
I feel like
Okay.
it's hard to know what to ask because I can imagine most of us haven't experienced anything, you know, that we're talking about, you know, except for maybe some on the personal level, some of us homeowners and whatnot. But, you know, as far as doing the deal, me, I'm like, I don't, you know, I don't really know what to expect. So
So how far are you in your career?
uh I got my license in June.
Oh, congratulations. Wasn't that fun?
Thank you. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, it is a big unknown. It really is. You sit there and you're like, okay, I'm ready. So what happens now? So I'm getting ready for the closing table, but I don't have a contract. So,
Right.
but when you go, okay, truth be told, how many people have the MREA book? Or have read it?
Yeah, I read it.
Flipped through the
Yeah.
pages, looked at a model or two.
It's on my list of to-dos.
Yeah. You know what?
No,
You don't
I-
have to read it cover to cover. The neat thing is you can just say, what is it I need help on today? Open it up and get there. In the beginning, I used to like to stay in the office so I could hear the other realtors go through their transactions. So I could learn vicariously through what they were going through. And as many meetings as you could sit in as possible. I don't know if you're in mentorship programs or anything like that, but to just sit and be a fly on the wall to see how other people conduct business tells you how you would like to be or how you would never like to be. So it is difficult. So to get to the closing table, first you need to find the buyer or the seller. Every market center, team, group, everybody runs their business differently. I do both buy, sell. I do residential, I do land, I can do farm, commercial. You know, if there's something out there, then I can do it. If I think that it's something that I won't be able to serve my client to the best that they deserve, then I will find them a different agent. You know, if it's just something really outside of my my comfort zone or my wheelhouse, I will pass it on to someone who, you know, if it's a multi-unit, you know, residential apartment complex with 20 units in there.
And then would you still expect your finder's fee
Um,
or referral fee?
yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
So there's no shame in that. Shoot, I'll
yeah, no.
pass it off if, you know,
Referrals
if
are
I can
good.
learn.
And that's again, I don't know if anybody has worked with a different company or not. I used to work with a company that when you would get a referral, you know, you'd get your check and all these holes were out of it. But with Keller, we have the best network system. And have you guys gone into your Command or Connect to reach out to let other agents know that you're an agent and what market center you work out of and the neighborhoods that you are marketing or into, anything like that?
Actually, just today reached out to an old high school friend of mine. I noticed that she works, actually two friends from high school work at Keller Williams in different states. So I just reached out to them both this morning, like, hey, I'm trying to get my referral source and so actually we're going back and forth and asking each other questions. She's asking me a lot of questions so far. So hopefully
Yeah,
that
and-
pans out, as far as referrals and whatnot.
Referrals, they're great. You could either pay an outside third-party company a referral fee, or you can find someone that's in your network or someone in Keller Williams that is also well-versed in, they're knowledgeable. So you send your
Right.
clients to them and you can trust that you're sending them to a trusted partner.
Mhm.
And I really like the referral system. And you can reach out. I know that when I travel, sometimes if time allows, I'll go into real estate offices. I'll find the Keller Williams offices. Or if you're driving through, let's say, a small town as you're going up to Washington, and you have to drive through 3 or 4 small towns that have, something county realty or something like that. Stop in, drop off a postcard, your business card with a small bio, and say, I would love to be a referral partner if you have somebody that's in my area. Please call me. And I would like to do the same for you. If I have a buyer for, XYZ, I would love to send them to an expert in this area since we don't have anyone in our network that's there or something, don't give up too much information. But again, it's all about making those relationships. And it's not just a one and done. It's that day to day without pounding someone over the head. Hey, I'm a realtor and I'm asking for your business. Find the best way that you can do it that you're most comfortable with. So, and with closings, when you get to the closing table, everything looks good. There is going to be you get this before the closing, and it is a statement. It's a closing statement, and it lines out everything on there of how much the seller, if you have the seller, what the seller is getting, what the seller is paying. And then it all balances out at the bottom of the page. And then it tells you what what's owed to the seller. And with the buyer, you're going to see their credits and their debits. It will have their loan amount, their closing costs, prorated taxes, septic, sewage, any of those things. And so read it. Read line by line. If you don't understand it when you get it, talk to somebody in your office and have them explain it to you. But they're all pretty simple. Essentially a great big receipt of money coming in and money going out. But it's your job to look after your client if they're not familiar with those. So are you familiar with contingencies?
The main three of them that are important, was it appraisal, inspections in financial, or escrow?
You first time. So you're contingent on, first it would be the seller property disclosures, then inspections. Then it would be your appraisal. And, just making sure that you can fund by the time that you get to the closing table.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense, Michael?
Yep.
Okay. So are you guys familiar with the contracts? Have you gone in and made yourself familiar with a listing contract or a sales agreement contract?
2 listing contracts so far.
That you've got 2 listings?
Yes.
Right on. How are those listings doing?
One of them I have a showing today on showing time. They requested a showing last night, so we have one today. Fingers crossed. And then the other one, in the middle of the month, we'll get it going. There's still some work that needs to be done. I need to help move them out pretty much. So at least all the
Yay,
clutter.
you get to move
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Well, they're in their 70s and has stairs and
Yeah, no, it's the right thing to do.
so yeah.
Yeah. And they remember that, and then the neighbors will remember that as well. You know,
Yeah.
just anything that you do, it doesn't go unnoticed. Sometimes it might feel that way, but people take note. So that's
But I did
exciting.
mess up a couple of times in those listing contracts. You know, they had to be sent back and redone and re-docu-signed, and God, that was stressful, but we got through it.
When I first started, I printed out the contracts and I gave myself a dummy cheat sheet. I would highlight what needed to be filled out and I would actually put in like a note to myself of how to do it, you know, to get comfortable with that. Because when you get comfortable with writing those contracts, it'll go a lot quicker. So the majority of your time will be spent, you know, getting leads and negotiating. The actual paperwork is going to go a lot quicker. And then again, in command, when you just follow your list of things that need to be in there, it helps to keep you on track.
Right.
And communication is huge. So, and always on your contracts, make sure you get things dated. Because dates matter, date and time stamp. And especially right now, since you don't have, right now is a really great time to get all of your systems in play. But if they're not and things start to happen, that's okay as well. But in the long run, the more organized you can be in the beginning, the easier it will be as you start to get busier, when you start getting more contracts and you're moving forward along in your career. So it's nice to have a task list. So with your with getting your inspections done, make sure you write on your calendar. If it is 10 business days or 15 business days, you know your area, you know how quickly you can get an inspector in there, but you need to have it inspected and get the inspection report back and be able to write a repair addendum if necessary within that time frame that you put in on your professional inspection addendum. So, and with you, Gary, you have the listing. So you get a contract in, you pay attention to when that inspection period is over. So if they come back and we've all seen it, your contingency period has been over for 5 days. The buyer's agent forgot to schedule an inspector and says, oh, well, here's our inspection report. No, you're outside of your contingency period. You can still get it inspected, but we're not obligated. You try to work with people. You don't have to do their job, but your number one focus is your client. So
Right.
you advocate for your client. That's why they hire you and that's why they cut a check for you. You know, so you have your ethics, and just to remain ethical, it's not like you sit there and go, oh, you know, they missed something, but it's not your job to babysit the other agent. It never hurts to give reminders now and again. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah, because a lot of the people, when you're in the business for a while, you're going to work with them over and over again. And you never know, they might want to come over to Keller Williams and get into your downline. So, you know, always be nice. But don't be a doormat. Just got to put that out there. So with your dates, you have your effective dates, your inspection deadline, your inspection response dates. So with your buyer's repair addendum, just like a counteroffer, it's going to have a date on that document of a response time. So if I send over a repair addendum and I know it might take 3 or 4 days for the other side to get in touch with a contractor to get a bid on work, then I'll bump the date by a few days, or I'll talk to the listing agent first and say, hey, look, these are the things that we're going to be asking for. And you have to know the agent on the other side so you don't give away all of your negotiating power. But we're going to be asking for a few things. Do you have an electrician in your back pocket that can be there in a couple of days? Anytime that it's electrical, it's usually give yourself a little extra time to get an electrician out there. And if they need extra time, they need to put it into an addendum that they need extra amount of time to get the services done. So with a pest and dry rot, are you guys familiar with the pest and dry rot report?
Seems pretty self-explanatory, but
Yeah. You would think so, yeah. Now, listen, when an inspector goes in to do a home inspection, if they're doing the whole home, everyone thinks that it's just in the house itself, but they too should get up underneath the house to check for water leaks, pipe leaks, because the pest and dry rot inspection will not guarantee that there isn't a leaky pipe somewhere or a wire hanging somewhere. The specifics of a pest and dry rot is for that inspector to go under the house and look to see if there's any wood destroying insects, or some biological growth that could start eating at the wood. Or if there's just, water coming in at your sill plate and it's rotting away the wood, you need to know that it's there. That's what the pest and dry rot does. The whole home will go under and look for more detailed, I guess, items to make sure that underneath looks good too. That's
do
not
they
a pest and dry rot.
typically? So is that two separate inspections?
It is. It is.
Okay,
So when you start reaching out to your inspectors in your area, get a ball house figure of what they're charging. What's a basic pest and dry rot? Some of the guys will charge per square foot. If the house is up to 1,000 square feet, the price is this much. If I'm going to do an inspection and it's 4,000 square feet, the price is this much. So some are standard, some have a scale. The size of the house will dictate what their fee is. And some of them have websites. A lot of them you can just pay right on the website or call them directly and make arrangements for payment. Again, all of these vendors have their own businesses. And the most important date to pay attention to is your closing date. So when you go under contract, let's say the contract's on the 1st of September and you're going to close the 1st of October. Keep that in the back of your mind and make it front and center as well on your task list. Did I hit these timelines? Because if you're representing a buyer and you missed your inspection date, by the following day, it was supposed to have it done on the 10th and today is the 11th or 12th and it didn't get done. It's a horrible feeling. So make sure you stay up on top of any dates that are in your contract that you need to abide by. And if anything changes on your contract, let the lender know, let the title company know, because, everybody has to, it's all these gears that come together. So everybody, the communication of this is changed. This is, if you have a closing date extension, we can't close on the 1st of October, it has to be the 3rd. You need to make sure you get an addendum and it gets sent to the lender and it gets sent to the title company. Then when it comes time to move out, then you need to remind your seller, hey, how are you doing on that? Do I need to bring you boxes? That's always a good gift too for your sellers, is to, packing tapes, some wrapping paper and some boxes and, This is how much I care. See ya. No,
Right. Beat it.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But no, it's goodwill because we've all been in positions to when a kind stranger walks in and just alleviate some of the pressure. It's nice to be that person. So, but your dates are important. Make sure everyone's set up and just keep reminding them. Remind your clients if you're the seller, you know, have you got this done? And the big thing on the seller is since you're selling, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, am I to assume that I'm going to help you find a home here? Or where are you going? Oh, you're going to Memphis, Tennessee. I've got a great agent for you. Just a moment, let me make sure they're available and I'll get back to you with a name and number. Then you get onto your referral network. You can call the market center and say, I need somebody because these are my clients. Give them the profile and that market center will know who's the best agent that will mesh with those clients. So just always keep that in mind. If you've got a listing, you have a real strong potential of having a buyer at the same time. So one becomes two, which is fun.
Cha-ching.
Well, it really is. It's a great feeling to see people when they get in their homes. And I still keep in touch with people just like, hey, I'm not asking anything, but how are you doing? How's the house doing? Hey, I drove by, I saw that bush that you trimmed up and it looks fantastic. You got to teach me how to do that in all my free time. So any questions up to this point? I know this isn't the usual. I just feel a little naked not having my split screen here. So with the closing, as I was saying, it will go into another relationship. Either that seller is going to be a buyer or they could actually be turn into long-term resource if it's a vendor and they like working with you. And now keep in mind, most of the vendors know a gazillion realtors, but it's a two-way street. I'll do business with you, you do business with me because we know we do good business together with no expectations other than doing good business. And the best thing is to, just leave a really good impression throughout the transaction. So how do you guys, how would you leave a good impression? What's in your mind? What would someone do for you that would leave a good impression, a lasting impression in your mind?
Someone who maybe went above and beyond or
What does
helped
that
you out
entail?
if you missed a step and they, just let you know, like, hey, you know how you were talking about earlier, the contingency, if you were to, go over by the day and the agent calls you, he's like, you kind of went over, you might want to double check. Bam, that's
Or we're
pretty
coming up
stand
on it,
Yeah,
you're a day away
right.
from 10 days and I haven't heard from the inspector. Did you call?
Right. Yeah. So that.
Yeah. What about you, Jennifer?
Well, I mean, I like the gifts that the agent think of something creative. That's what I would want to do for my customers, is leave a little housewarming gift.
Well, a closing gift.
Yeah, a closing gift, and I would be paying attention throughout the whole process of things they might like,
Mm-hmm.
not just some random, maybe they don't want champagne, maybe they want, I don't know, like a Ring doorbell or something.
Yeah, something that's a little more personalized that they'll have to think of you every time they use it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different vendors out there that do brand, Kinco knives. They actually put your name and your logo on there. So that's something nice. Even if it's a 2-knife set, they're spendy, but they're long lasting. It's a good quality product.
Mhm.
So what about you, Tony?
I like the closing gift idea as well. Just something to kind of, just that extra little touch, you know?
With a big bow. No,
Mhm.
Maddie, what about you?
I was also gonna say the closing gifts.
So what ideas do you guys have for closing gifts?
One that actually my agent did for me, and I use her for both my purchases and my properties, but she got a home warranty for both my places, so I thought that was pretty nice.
That is a nice one.
Especially as a first time home buyer, I was like, oh wow, I never thought of that, so it's pretty cool.
It's a nice little, it's like a 1-year insurance. If
Yeah,
the washer doesn't work, yeah, they will be
Yeah.
here.
especially as a first time home buyer, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
That is a nice closing gift. Haley, what about you? What about you, Jacob?
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna have to agree with like what Jen said. I think it's just paying attention to the client themselves and giving them something more individual and personal based upon how you got to know them. So it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, and I mean, even if it doesn't matter how much money you spend, it's something that is heartfelt, that will trigger a memory. And outside of gifts, what else do you give of yourself to put you in a position so after the closing that they don't go, it was this gal, she had white hair. God, who was she? You know, we
Buy a
closed and
pizza.
we never saw her again. So
Buying
what do you
pizza
do
during
to,
move-in day.
pardon?
Buying pizza during move-in day or something. Maybe. I don't know.
But what's going to be long-term? Think about more than just that closing day. You've got
Oh yeah.
someone who knows you, that you've had at least a 2-month relationship with. How do you nurture that? How do you get that? So, okay, you did the deal, but this is where the real work begins. You've got those people there, because for each person, you know, they know at least 1 more or 2 more people. And, you know, at least one of those 2 people are going to be buying or selling a house eventually. So it's a way, and it's not being pushy, but you need to be front of mind with everyone you know. So now that you've got your license, have you guys worked your sphere of influence of all the people that you've been around before in different careers to let them know, by the way, I am now your new favorite realtor. Just in case you didn't know that,
Gary?
I'm here to tell you.
I think a lasting, thing would be to remain in contact with them kind of maybe throughout the year, in the following year, send them put them on your Christmas card list every year, mail, just something to kind of keep your name and face still kind of alive in their mind. And also, I don't think it hurts to say, hey, if you know of anyone else that's interested in purchasing a home, like kind of sell yourself like
I
that.
hope you really
and ask.
enjoyed. I hope
Yeah.
I did well for you. So if you know of anybody else, I would love to be able to give them the same service that I gave to you.
Mhm. And ask for them for a review too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that,
Exactly. So yeah, it's a long-term thing. You have a job to do, you do your job, but then you build your relationship afterwards.
Mhm.
And with the closing, with the whole transaction, you have everything. So you have your checklist, you have your dates. Just methodically get into the habit of doing that. Sear it into your brain that this is the way that it needs to be. Because when you guys get busy, you're going to get busy. And it's going to be great. It'll be a wonderful challenge. And it's nice to have something where you can, look at it and say, this is where I'm at. It's like a roadmap. This is my transaction. This is my roadmap of how I'm going to get from beginning to end. And I'm going to do it efficiently, effectively, and really shine to help these people out. So does anybody have any comments or any other questions? You guys know how to, if you feel confident with your MLS system and doing your CMAs and property reports or anything like that?
No, I don't feel confident.
Me either.
So, do you play around with your MLS to see how to generate CMAs?
I've been in there a little bit to play around, but not for a CMA. I do want to get signed up though, because they do offer like 101 courses and whatnot, but
Mhm.
they always kind of conflict with our class times here. So I haven't had a chance to sign up for any of those courses yet.
Well, and sometimes they do have self-guided courses. I
Mhm.
don't know, we have Flex MLS. We've had several different MLS systems. So sometimes if you look into the help section, they will have it guided and help, so you can just do it on your own time instead of, their time.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's a nice way. And just play around with numbers. And another thing you can do is any of the vacant houses that are on the MLS, you can just go in to check out the house and just let the other agent know, I have a potential client and I want to see this house. You may not have met that potential client yet, but eventually someone's going to call and you'll say, hey, I was in that house just yesterday. And it's wonderful. It may suit your needs. Why don't we go over there and look at it together? The more knowledge you can get on any area, it doesn't have to be all these things all at once. It's pick something up new every day and hit the task. And it will bring more confidence. It will give you more knowledge, and knowledge is key. That's why people come to realtors. Some people think that buying and selling real estate is easy. And just this last week, I found out 40% of FSBOs end up in court because the seller didn't tell the buyer something because the seller didn't know to give it and the buyer didn't know to ask for it. And that's huge. If they don't get inspections or if they're, not getting it's a cash transaction and they're not getting an appraisal, something like that. So it's just, the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So also, since I've been talking, I guess getting back to the workbook is the things that you can do for closing. They have movie tickets, gift baskets, gift certificates, something that they'll need in their home. If they're relocating, if you can find something that's relative to the new city that they're moving to, kind of help them along with their move. And of course, as always, business cards for services that they may need, including your own. And the biggest part is keeping in touch with people as best as you can, even if they don't respond. Quick text in the command system, there is the touch campaigns. So that's something that you can work and study on. And it's a lot that comes at you. It's kind of like our telephones. Do we really know how to use all the features on our phones? Or do we know how to, read our emails, send texts, and take pictures? That's kind of our command system. You can do, it might take us to the moon and we just don't know it yet. But there are so many bells and whistles. It's fantastic. If somebody wants to geek out and tech out, right on. But you don't have to do that. You just need it for compliance. And then they really make it easy for you to market, just automated marketing in there, which goes on top of the other layers of all the ways you make contacts and create relationships. So years ago, it was just a few years ago that they switched it over, but we had a green sheet. And that comes to when you get paid. This is the good part of closing. Okay, one of the good parts. But it's kind of like how we keep going is by getting paid. So in your command system, there is a tab for offers and commission. And you fill that out. There is command training that just takes you right down the list of how it goes. You put in the amount that you're supposed to be getting from the title company. Then you'll see the deductions if you haven't capped out, what the market center gets, what your royalty is. And it's up to the individual in regard to donating to KW Cares or KW Kids. Both great, and it doesn't have to be a whole lot. You know, every dollar adds up, but if this is your first closing in 6 months and you need every dollar, that's good too. And so I will say that in command, it is a lot easier to fill out the commissions tab, and they do have tutorials on that. Has everyone been to experiencebrokerage-network.com?
No, not
Okay,
yet.
so that's where you can go, and that is our network website. So you can go back and it has all the list of the Ignite training. So you can see Ignite training from last year. You can watch the Ignite training from beginning to end this course and then moving into the next course, you know, the updated version. Then you can always just pick a video, whatever you want to do. And then also for your command training, there is Marty Miller. He is on YouTube, and I think he's at version 5.0 or 6.0. But if you want to learn your command system, watch his videos. Very rarely does he go over 15 minutes. So it will have a topic. You can watch it 5 to 6 minutes, answers your question. Great tutorials. And then, of course, if you have exact questions on how contracts need to be filled out, Tom Dye is our principal broker. He also is the same for Eugene. But we in Medford, we have or Southern Oregon, we have Shelley, who is our compliance broker. She is a principal broker, and she has the task of herding all of us and making sure we get our paperwork in on time and efficiently. And if not, then it gets bounced back and we get a little bell on our command. Have any of you played around with your command systems?
Oh,
You
yeah.
feel comfortable?
I don't know about comfortable, but
It gets easier the more you do it.
I had a question really quickly. Did you say the gentleman's name was Marty Miller, and he's the one who does all the YouTube videos for command?
Yes, Marty.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I got his name right.
Yeah, and he's down in Austin, Texas.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, he's great. He started out when command was first rolling out, and you know, a lot of people were resistant to it because, you know, who likes change, right?
All right, complicated.
So it's like, I was just getting the hang of that. So it's great. It breaks it down in small increments, so the brain takes it. And plus, if you only have 5 minutes because you have 5 listing appointments that day, it's perfect.
I wish.
It starts with one, and it's all about mindset. You know, it really, to get started, it sounds silly, but it's your mindset. You can do this. You will do this. You are doing this. Just by showing up today makes a big difference. And I know I go a little squirrel on things. So, but your action plan. And since this is at the end of the course, plans of action. Attend as many contract classes that you can that's being offered in your market center. And by being part of the Experience network, it is wonderful. All of the recordings there to help you out. The individual brokers, you know, your principal brokers will tell you what they expect in your files. So are you understanding checklists? Are you understanding? I didn't put a slide up. And here's since this is being recorded, I am monitoring myself, which is a nice change of pace. But in the materials, in the learning materials, there is the listing agent contract close checklist, this one, and then there's the buyer's agent, which is right there. And anyway, it helps you with timelines and tasks, you know, when to do it, what the task is, when to do it. And if anyone does not have the printed material, you can go to, there's several ways to get there, but if you go to Connect and then hit the Ignite, it should have a tab for course materials that you can download onto your computers, the workbook. So we reviewed what to do to help the buyer and the seller during the closing process. If you don't have a reference point, as you were saying earlier, how do you ask the question if you don't know what to ask? So as time goes by and you start with your first transaction, you are going to learn so much because you'll know where your strengths are and areas that might need to be strengthened. So there's that. So we've already gone over post-close system, which includes the touch campaign, which you can learn about. And then how many people use a calendar? Do you use a calendar to time block?
I do on my phone.
Most definitely. I do.
Is it helpful?
Yes, I think time blocking is the best thing ever.
Without it, how would we know what to do of a day? Yes, so everybody likes to create their calendars differently. Some people like to do small increments. Other people like to do big batches. On this day, I'm going to do all of this. So it's one big list of the same type of task. Others will say, every morning I am going to block out an hour to contact X amount of people and make it happen. So, whatever is going to work for you, do it. Put it on your calendar and then hold true to that. And if it's not on your calendar, why isn't it on your calendar? Or if you need to say, okay, it was on my calendar, but something, a buyer came in and I had to show, take that task, reschedule it. You replace it somewhere else in the week. And then just hold yourself accountable or get an accountability partner. Is everyone familiar with the 10-4, the daily 10-4s?
Yes.
Okay. Was that a yes, Michael?
Yes, it was. Sorry.
Okay. So do your best to get those done. And let's see. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Does anybody have any other questions? Or it doesn't have to pertain to information that we covered today, but any questions that I might be able to help you with?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I just want to make sure that website that you mentioned not long ago where like all the old training is, was that Experience Brokerage? What was it? Experience Brokerage Network?
Experience, and it starts with an X. It's our
Okay.
network, Experience Brokerage Network.com.
Okay, thank you.
No, my pleasure. And it's great. You can go in, when you're in the Ignite, when you click on a video, click on YouTube, and it will take you to the YouTube channel and subscribe to that channel. So this way, once it's in your YouTube subscription, you can just go through and any video you want in regard to the Ignite classes. There are some Ignite classes where they're just write down the book, a little more organized perhaps, and on different topics that will help you out. Tony, did you have any additional questions?
No, not that I can think of at the moment. I know as I go along, I will, but I don't know. I'm just kind of at a point where I'm just, oh, sorry. Gosh. You know, my thing is I feel very intimidated, and I'm one of those people that I know what I want to know what I'm talking about. When I'm talking to somebody, and I want to feel confident when I'm talking to them, like I really know what I'm talking about. And my biggest thing is if somebody has a question for me that I don't have an answer to, I don't like being put in that position where I'm like, you know, oh, well, hold on, let me get back to you. Like I want to be able to, I just want to feel confident enough to, and I'm looking forward to when I get to the point where I'll be able to answer it and feel confident answering it, knowing that, you know, that I know the material. So.
Well, yeah, because we want to be the expert, because that's why we're there.
Yeah, it's the thing is I'm calling myself an expert, but I'm really not yet.
And you know what? We're not going to know it all. So just, you know, get your foundation and scripts. Even you don't have to, if you can just even download the scripts, you don't have to play along. And I get that. Some people, it's like, I'm better by just reading it and internalizing it, but it just do it. You start reading those scripts over and over again. Or if you have someone, you know, in your sphere, a close friend, family member, that they can try to throw you off your game with some, you know, bizarro stories through the script. It gets you thinking, and it gets you to where you can take that script, you play with it enough to where it becomes actually how you think and who you are, because you don't have to do verbatim. It's not like you're, you know, in a movie and it has to be just like this. It gives you the premise of where you're going, and then you take and you morph it into your personality. This is how I ask questions. You will ask questions totally different than the way I do. But there's two big things anytime that you're in working on contracts. Ask questions and then listen. That's two really big points right there. Because when you let your seller talk, you know, you ask the question because you need to find out, you know, exactly where they're at. You ask it, listen, then you start to formulate from when they ask you the next question, you essentially repeat back what they've told you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if they're concerned about, well, what about the appraisal? So if they ask you a question like that after they've had, you know, they've spoken for a bit, what about the appraisal? What do we do if it's a low appraisal? Well, you've already covered that. What happens in case it's a low appraisal? You know? So you start thinking about that by reading those scripts. The scripts will have ways. The hardest part is, why are you charging so much? And why are we going to use you? You know, when you're going in for listings, that's, you know, those are the tough ones. Whenever you're cold calling, or, you know, you call a FSBO and say, hey, I might be able to help you. Would you consider listing your home, or whatever script it is you want to use? Those are tough. And I'm not going to tell you that they're not, but you do it more and more. And the more you do it, you're like, why was I so scared?
Yeah. No, I can't wait to get to that point.
Well, in your head, start believing in your mind that you're already at that point. In your mind, you know, whenever you go for a drive, you don't think, I'm never going to get to the lake because I'm sitting here in my driveway. In your head, you're already thinking, well, this time's going to go by because we're on our way to the lake and we're going to play in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of take the heat off of your brain power and just know that it's going to happen. Yeah, you're going to have a few fails. You know, you weren't born walking. You're going to fall, get up, shake yourself off and keep on going. Don't give the fails a lot of attention. Give your successes your attention. What points do you feel successful in today? Even if it's just one thing, how do you feel successful in your career?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking everyone,
Or
but we'll
everyone?
start with you.
Oh, well, I feel successful in the fact that I reached out and set up a couple appointments to meet with a lender, and I also reached out to a coworker of my husband's who is looking, and it just kind of came up coincidentally. He has some property that he wants to sell, and my husband actually said, "Oh, my wife, she's a realtor. You blah blah blah. If you don't have an agent already, you should look into her." And he goes, "Well, I actually have an agent, but I'm actually really disappointed with this agent. And I don't think I'm going to go with her. I think I'm going to terminate my contract. So I'd love to get your wife's information." So then last night I was like scurrying, putting together a listing packet and all that. But yeah. So I mean, I guess I feel confident and proud that I've got that ball rolling, and
So when is your listing appointment?
Well, so he's still under contract with this other agent. And so I don't have an appointment
Right,
with him yet.
right. Okay, so don't worry so much on your listing presentation. It's always great to have something in hand. Go back to your scripts and somehow, wherever you're feeling weak, look for those scripts and practice them. I don't care if you're in the mirror talking to yourself, do it over and over again until it just rolls off your tongue and you're feeling comfortable with that.
I will. In fact, I was in my husband's ear because we were on the phone together when he was having this conversation with the guy, so I could hear everything. And my husband's like, "She's great. He's just selling me up." And I'm thinking, making me sound like I'm just this, expert. "Oh, she's wonderful. She's great. She'll help you, blah, blah. She knows what she's doing." And then they walked away and I told my husband, like, "Oh, great. Way to."
But do you
I
have a
don't know what
mentor?
I'm
Do you
doing
have
yet.
someone that helps you in the office?
I do. Yes, I have my principal broker. She's wonderful. So
Have her on speed dial. That's
I
all.
know I will. I'll
And
have
if anybody says, "Hey, it's how many transactions have you had?" You
That's-
say, "Well, the team that I'm with has this many transactions, and I am one of many."
I
For
like
your
that.
own words.
Yeah, because I don't want to lie, but I also don't want to be like, "You're my first one,"
Yeah.
I mean,
And people will, some
especially if
people
I'm
will
trying to
take
sell
client
advantage
said
of that.
that.
So it's nice to let them know it's not just me. When you hire me, it's not just me.
it's a whole
You're
team.
hiring this whole team or group or the office. If it's a full set of solo agents, say it's not just me. Look at all these people you get. You just get to
Yeah.
look at my face.
I
That's all.
told I told my first client, she asked me, "How many houses have you sold?" And I was like, "Well, you know what? You're my lucky first house. So I'm going to fight hardest for you than any of them." So,
And that's
and then I
another
told her
great
about the
approach.
team,
That's
I told her
another
about
great
the team
approach.
and then,
I
yeah.
don't have 15 contracts in escrow right now. So I get to
Yeah.
put all my energy and all my focus on you. And
Yeah.
I have all these people behind me to guide me to success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Another thing I was going to say, Tony, in the scripts class,
Mhm.
one thing that he did help me with is to just get good at saying that you don't know something and you'll get back to them. Just get good at saying that, like, "You know what? That's the first time I've come across that problem, but let me get back to you. Let me call my more experienced senior agent and I'll get right back to you." And then
Yeah.
that gives you some time to fumble and go, "Oh my God, what the hell do I do?"
Yeah.
But if you get
It's
good
like-
at just telling them like, "Oh yeah, I got that, no problem. This first time I've handled it, but let me just so I get you the right information,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have the top agent in our region on speed dial. He will have the answer to help us out. And so
Right.
you start using verbiage of us, we, and it's just those little subtle things that will put people at ease. Because we know in the end, Tony, you are going to do a great job. You are. You're stepping into the dark, but you know, you're turning on a light and you will get there. So, I mean, just focus on that. You're already there. You're already at the lake. You just have some miles between the driveway and where you park at the lake.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy. I like that.
I see the
But
water.
we're human. We get stuck in our head. I am the queen of getting stuck in my head.
Mhm.
So, you know,
Mhm. Yeah, I'm a what if constantly, you know?
well, you can also look at it. What if I succeed? What if I actually get not just this listing? What if I get 10 listings? What if someone says, I dare you to get 5 listings by the end of the month or by the end of the year, by the end of the quarter? Well, what if I do get that? How's that going to work? That would feel great. Start focusing on that.
Oh, my husband would be elated.
Well, they say a broken clock is right twice a day. So
Right? Anybody else? Have issues or things where you're confused? Maddie, maybe?
Not at the current moment, no.
You're feeling good where you're at and you have a good office with resources, so they're
Yeah.
right there to help you? Super. Well, it's Keller Williams, so we all have it.
mhm.
Jacob?
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you had much experience with referring to agents that are not with Keller Williams?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
and that goes
So it's
just the same.
outside of
pretty much?
network. It's outside of our
Outside
network.
network. Okay.
Yeah, and there's 2 things. When dealing with referrals,
Okay.
before you start giving away contact information and maybe it's first contact and you don't have a good rapport to begin with, it's not solidified. Just get all their information, have them sign the referral form or their principal broker to fill it out. Negotiate what that referral is going to be. You know, I usually do 20 to 25. And if it's like on land listings that are, if it's like small pieces of land, if I won't give a referral on it because there's no meat left on the bone, or I'll just pass it over to somebody else into the office without a referral.
So you're suggesting that I contact this particular agents in Arizona, and I have friends that are moving to Arizona, and I put a shout out, and I didn't even think about calling the market center, but I put a shout out on the page like, hey, I'm looking for an agent in Phoenix, and nobody got back to me. So then I asked some friends of mine who've done some real estate who they used, and they hooked me up with a great agent. And so I just reached out to her and I said, hey, I might have some friends come in. I'm going to give them your information. If they want to use you, they'll reach out. I didn't give
You
the
send her a
agent.
contract, get her contact information, send her a
Okay.
referral, and these are my clients, and she needs to sign on it.
Okay.
That way you
okay.
have paper in hand, and she might follow through, because sometimes I'll do phone deals. Someone will call and say, hey, will you pick up this referral? And I'll say yes. Things will get going. I'll be under contract, and then I'll reach them and say, hey, I'm getting everything put together in my file. Can you send me that? Because I know I'm good for it.
Right.
And then I've had some people that are Keller agents outside of network, but they'll say they want 30 or 35%. And I won't do that.
Right,
I just won't, especially if,
Okay.
If they have, because I do the entire basin and sometimes Lake County as well. So that's a lot of miles. And I'm not being snotty, but I'm the only one that's going to look out for my compensation. I'm not
Right.
greedy, but no, I'm not doing I drive a truck. I'm not driving all those miles and
Yeah.
giving half of it away. So. Has anybody been to Klamath Basin?
Just driven through it.
Yeah, driven through it.
Did it scare you? No, just kidding.
Hmm.
No, I'm
I
originally
definitely
from
picked up
Las
speed.
That's funny. I'm originally from Las Vegas, and I moved up here about 17 years ago because my daughter was young and wanted a nice quiet lifestyle, and this is it. So she now lives in Eugene. Just probably if you look out the window and to the right, she lives over yonder.
Oh, the Crescent condos or apartments over
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
over there.
cool.
She's getting
Nice.
her last year of college in. Actually, she could have graduated in June and then she said early in the year, guess what, Mom? I want to go another year. Yay.
Yay!
No, it's a good thing. Jennifer, any questions? Haves, needs, wants, anything?
I guess when you were talking about giving your card out to
Vendors?
like other locations, you know, if I know people up in or I don't know, Seattle, I could stop by their office and talk to them.
Yeah.
But what would I say again? Like give them my card and say,
You let people know, say, hey, I don't know if you ever have clients going to my area, but if so, I would love to have you in my referral network.
okay,
I give and accept referrals, you know, and find your own verbiage for that. But the
And
name of the
that would be
name of the
another
game is to
pillar.
tell people you're a realtor and ask for business in your own pretty happy way. Did I speak over you, Tony?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, and that would be another Keller Williams office, I'm assuming.
No, any office.
Oh, okay.
If you're in Timbuktu and all they have is Timbuktu Realty and there's not a Keller agent for another, 500 miles, make the connection.
Got it. Like what Gary's talking about doing for his Arizona friends. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, make connections wherever you go. You're going on holiday. Take your business cards and listen. And it sounds silly, but I usually wear a name tag when I go grocery shopping. People read my name tag. They're like, oh, you're a realtor? Yeah. Why?
I gotta
You
get
have
one of
real estate
those.
questions?
Great
How's
idea.
the market? I understand it's a buyer's market. No, we're still low on, we're low on inventory. You know, the prices have been adjusted, but we still have more buyers than we have houses to sell. So how are you doing, Maddie?
I'm good. I was gonna mention that on Facebook, there's a Facebook group called, I think it's called Real Estate Mastermind. But there's 250,000 agents across the US in there. And I've seen in the past like 4 days, people from across the US looking for a Eugene realtor. So you could also use that to partner with other people.
Is that a
Absolutely.
KW?
No, it's
What's it called again?
It's called Real Estate Mastermind.
Okay.
And there's plenty of Facebook real estate groups, and they're usually closed groups, but they're great. And it's a great way to say, hey, I'm Maddie, and I can be your referral partner. Maddie, are you in Eugene?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in Eugene. If you have somebody that's looking to buy or sell, please look me up, or here's my contact info. Message me.
Yeah, it's also kind of nice because like I had a question and it was the weekend, so I didn't want to ask anyone at the office. So I put it in there and I had like 200 responses in
Oh
like
my gosh.
an hour.
People
So
love to help. And so does your office. We all love to help.
Wow.
Anybody else? Questions on anything that has to do with command, with transactions, calendars, how to build your day, how to build your database?
what was the home book for? Again, was it for someone selling? For a listing?
Yeah, that's what they gave me the home book for a listing. She said that the sellers, they really like them
But
for
what
their
did it,
house.
was it for them to
Uh,
keep even though they're selling it? Like,
it had so much information. It's like 80 pages long, and it has like what to do in the area. To me, it seems like it's something for the house, but it has
Okay.
some personal information in it too. So, but it has like dimensions, lot size. It has like all the utilities in the town that you would need. You know, the cable company. It's, you know, if when you get a listing, just ask your title person, just say, hey, how about a home book for that address? So
Customer
and then you could-
service packet.
yeah,
You know, it's a to get like the stats on the house and things like that. And I've had open houses where I'll do a 3-ring binder with the plastic covers, and I just put the data in on that house and with highlights in bold letters, you know, larger font, so people can just flip and see a couple of items at a time. You'd be surprised at how many people go house shopping. They don't open drawers or cabinet doors or investigate the house. You're not doing it to see what kind of spices they cook with. How do these cabinets work? What's underneath the sink? You know, and it's okay to do that. You just don't like go through their bureaus and find out what color socks they're wearing, you know. But as far as the house itself, investigate the house. And it's okay if you get to the house before your clients and, you know, kind of make yourself familiar with it, get the lights on and study the house. Make sure you, when people say, well, where's the water heater? Or does anyone know to look at the breaker board? You know, in Klamath Falls, we have a lot of old houses. So before writing up a contract, let's look at the mechanicals. Let's look at the furnace, or does it have an AC unit outside? I look for a furnace for a house. Gosh, I must have spent 30 minutes, finally called the listing agent, said, I can't find it. It has to be in the attic. And she started laughing. She's like, yeah, the access is in this room. And I'm like, okay, that would have helped me. But when you're showing houses, you know, just get in there and show the house, know the house as best as possible. So have I bored everyone to tears yet? Or-
No, not at all.
No.
Because I
No.
love
Only half
helping
of us.
people. I really do. I just, and with you, Maddie, never be afraid to talk to the people in your office, because there's always people there that want to see you succeed. And it does feel bad because it's like, oh, it's the weekend. But it's like, no, call, reach out. And
But
that's
real
what
estate
just
do
about
work
anybody in the
weekends.
network. Say it again.
I said real estate agents do work weekends. To me, it's
Yeah.
like, it's not a Monday through Friday kind of job anymore, you know, not like my
No,
previous career.
it actually becomes a lifestyle, but in that lifestyle, one of the things that I learned, thank you, Leslie Hilbert, is to actually book off private time for myself and to make sure I take a vacation every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. It's kind of nice when you book out. And so if I have horses, so if I want to ride my horse, I put it on my calendar. And if I switch that because I'm doing a 7 o'clock showing, then I'm going to take and say, okay, well, you know, Thursday morning after feed time and they're fed, I'm going to go ride. So it's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
we're paying for the first few transactions anyway to our productivity coaches. So I'm like, I'm
Amen.
not afraid to call them at any time, because we're giving them, you know, our first couple transactions, we're paying a little extra.
Yeah.
At least I am. I don't know about you guys, but
No, we
you
are.
know,
Yeah. My
yeah.
husband
so
reminds me that
use 'em.
every day.
Yeah, no, use
He's
them. That's
That's what he said. He goes, don't be afraid
But
to text and call them at any
That's
hour.
why
They're paying
we
for it.
are here, because we're all successful together. And everybody there's enough work for everybody, and there's enough leverage out there, but it's a mindset. You get your head in the game and you go do your job. And if you have questions, and it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, if you have questions, ask somebody that you think has the right answer. So utilize everybody that's in your network. And you realize that our network goes from Portland down to Medford and everything along the way. So anything about closings, contracts, anything else that anyone can think of that they might have a question on how to do, or just something out of the blue that they came across? Is
Well, I have
we've
two
got time.
showings now today. So
Come
hopefully I
again?
get an offer in. I said I got 2 showings today on my listing. So hopefully I get an offer, and if I do, I'll reach out. It's like, what do I do next?
That's it. Get it signed, get it signed.
Yeah,
But first read
yeah.
through it, read through it thoroughly.
yeah.
So are people familiar with different type of loan types and what questions to ask your lenders and things like that? If you're a listing agent, you can talk to the buyer's loan officer throughout the entirety of the transaction to make sure that they're hitting all the contingencies they need to. 3 weeks in, are we still good on employments? Are we good here, there? Are they good with their down payment? Because nobody likes it at the end when the buyers go, oh, I thought the seller was going to wrap our closing costs up into the price. No, so it's okay to communicate on just ask questions. Even if it's as simple as talking to the lender saying, how are we doing? How's the buyer
Yeah.
doing? Are we on track? And then just listen. The agent, the loan officer will tell you where you're at. They don't have to give away details, but to protect your seller, you do that. And then if you're the buyer's agent, it's the same thing. You're working with that buyer, representing that buyer, as is the loan officer. What do I need to do? Asking the loan officer, what do I need to do to help these buyers get to the finish line? Is there anything on my end I can do to help? And then same thing with home inspections. Make good with your home inspectors. What can I do to make your job easier? Within reason, I'm not crawling under the house for you. It's icky. No, but make sure the house is open. Make sure you communicate with the other side. Communication with the other agents, with the title company, with the lender. Just share those thoughts as much as possible. So, anybody, anything else? This should be recorded and yeah, it's being recorded. So you can always go back after it uploads and in case you miss me, you can watch it over and over again. But I am down in Klamath Falls. You can always reach out to me, 541-331-1729.
And Laura,
Yeah.
how do you spell your name? Which spelling?
LAURA
Okay.
KNIGHT.
Okay.
Yeah, any questions, reach out because we're all part of the same place. And if it's something that's a principal broker question, I will immediately let you know to talk to the principal. But if it's just simple things, easy peasy.
Can you repeat
Laura?
your phone number one more time? So sorry.
541-331-1729.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Yeah, or
Laura.
if you just need a pep talk, or if you want me to send you, stupid selfies of me and my animals, it's quite all right.
We'll take pictures of you and your horses.
I would love that.
I had a question for you, Laura. Were you a real estate agent when you lived in Las Vegas, or did you get into it after you moved up here?
I got into it once I moved up here. I was a wedding coordinator in Las Vegas for about 16 years.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Because I don't have enough stress in my life. No. No, I enjoyed it. And that if you're going to do it, that's the place to do it.
I was gonna say, yeah, probably not. Wouldn't be as busy maybe in Klamath Falls as you were in Vegas as wedding coordinator.
Correct. Well, I actually thought about putting together a wedding facility here. And then with our 9 months of winter, I'm like, that's kind of tough.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But, we are going to have, I'm culture chair with the Southern Oregon office. So if you guys want to make a long drive for a holiday party, we're having our Christmas party, December 17th at the Hilton Garden Inns in Medford. Everyone's invited.
Oh, nice.
Because it's just a 3-hour drive. That's easy peasy.
It's nothing.
A little bit further for us up here in Salem. Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a wee bit. Yeah. Oh, and there is a mastermind coming up in September 22nd.
Mhm.
It's in Hillsborough. And it's a great opportunity. I think today is the last day to get tickets. It's only $25 for attendance. It starts at 10 a.m. I don't have the stuff in front of me, but it's a great way to network. And she's going to be talking about how to get your business plan ready for the coming year for 2023. So anytime you guys get an opportunity to sit in, it's a great way to, I like to just sit and listen. I know it's hard. I talk a lot. So, but to just listen to what everybody else is doing in their business and how they're doing it and just soak it up because it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I'm going to that. I won a ticket to that in a raffle last week.
Winning's fun.
Yeah,
Who cares what it is? I just want to win.
right. Exactly.
Well, hopefully I'll see you up there. I'm probably going to spend the night in Eugene and then travel up in the morning. because
Okay.
It's only a couple hours.
Right.
So I will look forward to it and meeting you in person.
Yeah, I'll look for you. And Jacob Drake, he also won a ticket as well in the raffle. So hopefully he'll make it too, and you'll get to meet him.
Sure. Try to get more people to go because the more the merrier. No, it's just
Yeah,
it's a great
Jen.
opportunity. And it's
Gary.
nice to let do what?
I
I was
said I'll
saying-
be there. I don't have I didn't win a ticket, unfortunately, but I'll pay $25 today to get there.
Yeah, and they should be on your what's happening this week email.
Hmm.
The link
I
should
think
be
it was at the
right
last
there.
one.
But they're all good. Any chance to get together with everybody in the network, it's especially when it's, relatively close. It's a great opportunity and it's nice to meet and greet people and let people know who you are and what you do. And, we just get stronger together. That's all. That's
I
all.
like it. I like it.
Mhm.
All right. And I pop into the Eugene office now and again. So fair warning, you see me run. No. Usually I'm headed to the coffee maker. But if you have any more questions or anything, now's the time to ask. All right, I have bored you all. I've lulled you to sleep. Yes.
No, you
No.
did great.
No, the
Laura.
opposite. I don't have
Thanks,
any more
Laura.
questions, but I just wanted to say that I loved all your analogies and your great metaphors, and your energy was just really positive, and I actually feel much better at the end of this session that I did in the beginning when I was crying. So
Oh,
thank you
Oh,
very much.
hugs, Haley.
for-
I agree. I agree with Haley.
Oh,
You definitely
But-
helped brighten my spirits and get a little bit more of that confidence back in myself that I had when I started.
oh, it's hard if you have a setback.
Mhm.
It's not an easy task, but again, it goes back. And when you start focusing on all the good things, because we get hung up on, like with me, I'm like, oh, I failed at this, I failed at that. Meanwhile, I've got this big stack of files to be taken care of, but I made one mistake, but I'm focused on that mistake instead of all of the positives that are over on this side. So just do that. And if
Understand.
any of you ever need like a happy call, you call me. I guaranteed I will tell you stupid jokes for at least 5 minutes to where you're like, okay, I'm done with you now. Go ride your horse and be nice to people.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, you guys. Well, thank you so much for entertaining
Thank you.
me and putting up with me. It is
You were
greatly
great.
appreciated.
You
And
were great.
anytime you see me, or if you're in Klamath Falls, just if you want to, I will drive you around and show you where our 3 restaurants are. No. No, anytime you're here, look me up. It's okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, Laura.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Laura.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
See you
guys.
guys at the end of
everybody.
September.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.